Good evening. I'm Leo Castillo, Principal of Washington Academic Middle School. So first and foremost, we started with grander plans than we have now in front of you guys. We wanted to do a traditional AM PM like the elementaries and try to get all 1,500 kids on campus. After looking at what's going on with the numbers and seeing how the elementary rolled back, we probably bit off a little more than we can chew. So we decided we needed to scale back a little bit, and we looked at the high school model, and we said, you know what, we can make that work for us because that allows us to scale up and scale down depending on the safety issues. Because first and foremost, we want to make sure it's safe, not only for our students, but for our teachers and our families who are back at home. So we're following basically the same model. Mondays, we're still having our regular distance learning day. It's a late start day for us, for our teachers can get their PLCs in. And then on Tuesday through Friday, it's going to be distance learning in the morning. Our students are going to go to all of their classes, from their advisory class, their period 2, 3, 4, and 5. So they'll go through all their classes, We'll have a lunch break. And then in the afternoon is when we'll have certain teachers, for example, on Tuesdays and Thursdays, we'll have our ELA, science, SPED, electives, and our counselor. They're going to bring in groups. Those groups are going to range the minimum of 7 kids in a classroom to the maximum of what the space will allow. So I do have a couple of teachers who teach, for example, my ASB class. It's a humongous classroom, so she can bring in all 30 of her kids. So that's her plan, is to bring in all 30 of the kids, and they'd be able to space out 6 feet with the masks on, so she can have her leadership kids on campus during those 2 days. So when those kids are in person between 1:30 and 3 o'clock for 90 minutes, one classroom, there's no changings. The other teachers who are not with students, they're going to have their virtual session. So it's required that those teachers also have a virtual session. So all of our teachers will be doing something from 1:30 to 2:15. After the 2:15 mark, the people who are on virtual, they'll have time to make their parent phone calls, to make parent contacts, and those types of things. So the people we had involved, we had everyone involved in our school. Our school leadership team, we met, we went over different schedules. They decided, okay, this is what's going to be best for us, presented it to our staff. They presented it to their PLCs first. We come back as a staff, talk about it, discuss it, meet again with the leadership team. We brought in our two leadership classes, our ASB class, to meet with those students. I presented that, presented to school site council, presented to PTA, ELAC. Can't remember if any other parent groups. I think those are the 3 parent groups that we met with. So everyone, we met with them, collaborated with them, ran it by Ms. Nino also, make sure we got input from the district, and this is the schedule we came up with. We are going to be servicing on Tuesdays in person, 368 students, on Wednesdays, 282, on Thursday, 343, and on Friday, 302. So we're going to be servicing a total of 1,295 students throughout the week. We have on our roster 1,561. So the majority of the kids will be serviced. And then, like we talked about scaling up, every 3 weeks, we're going to look at it as a cycle. We're going to look at it as a cycle. Okay, what kids now? Who else can we bring in? Who else can we bring in? Because we want the teachers to feel comfortable in being in front of the students. A teacher who's bringing in 7 right now probably doesn't feel very comfortable. But once you get them on campus, they start feeling a little more comfortable. They're going to start getting their numbers a little higher, so that we can have at least 10 to 15 in that classroom. Because my thing is this: an uncomfortable teacher will not be an effective teacher. They have to be comfortable in front of those kids to be able to operate. Because like we told them, it's not a homework lab. They're just not going to come in, sit down, be quiet. We want it to be interactive, regular school. We want it's a school where they're doing things with the kids. So that's our goal. And again, kind of like the high school, we're serving our kids who have been struggling, those who have not been logging in, those with attendance issues, social emotional, our English learners, our special ed students. And again, our elective classes, they're going to be able to bring on kids who do their hands-on things. So those are the kids we're going to be looking at. Unfortunately, are we getting all 1,561 kids on campus? No, we're not, and it's not what we want. We obviously want all our kids back, but that's the best that we can do at this time. But we'll continue to bring kids on campus, make sure we get to eventually to opening up so that everybody's back on campus in a safe manner. Any questions?
Oh, going back to your 30 students you're bringing in, where are you putting them?
We have a humongous classroom, Mr. Hernandez. It used to be the old shop rooms.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's why it's bigger than this thing. So.
Also, you gave a lot of information out, so you might have said it already, but is lunch being served, nutrition, anything?
That's a great question. So we do have our SDC kids who, some of them are going to stay for the whole day, and we'll be serving lunch to those students, and it's going to be about 10 kids a day that actually stay the whole entire day for SDC. Every day, some of them will stay they'll be coming in the morning for in-person. SDC is a little bit different. They'll be in the morning for in-person, and then half of them will stay and half of them will go home for virtual. And then half of them will stay there and have lunch.
But the rest of
the kids will, when they're leaving on their way out, they'll be picking up a breakfast and a lunch on the way out.
Same way as the elementary type?
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Oh, yeah, maybe you could answer it.
Sure.
We were talking about bringing in the freshmen right now, right, to come and see the high school. Okay, first, and then WAMS is going to do that in January.
So what we're doing, Mr. Hernandez, is this week we're showing videos. We put some videos, some interactive videos for the students. We brought in our leadership group on a Saturday. We made some videos on how they're supposed to line up, where they're supposed to line up, what they're supposed to do when they walk into the classroom, the hallways, which way you can walk, because now we have hallways that only go one way, stairs that you can only go up, down one way, down the other way. So we're going to be playing those videos, and you've done middle school, you were a principal at a middle school, and you know very well that if we were to bring them in now, the retention of them remembering what's going on probably isn't going to be very good. But when they do come back in January, the first 30 minutes, since we have them for 90, we're going to do another retraining with them.
And then my question back there, don't come back up here, but how did your freshmen act? How were the 100 little guys running around? How were they?
They weren't running around. They came in and they came right out here. And I'll speak for Mrs. Coronado because I was over here. But all the chairs were separated, and there was almost 100 students right out here with a stage, and they were given a presentation. They were actually very quiet. It was like honeymoon stage. If you've heard the term honeymoon stage, it means that they come in and they're very quiet at first, and they're doing this with their friends, the head nodding and that kind of thing, because they were really excited to be back, but they're also very shy because they've not been an Apache. They've been an Apache the whole time, but the first time on campus was really exciting for them.
How were they at the end? They still behave themselves?
Yes, all the way. They were here for an hour and a half.
Yeah, I think that's for the first time many of them getting together like that. That many. Yeah, that many. Yeah, poor guys.
I think Mrs. Coronado had a good time too, shooting off T-shirts and giving out prizes.
Good.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
Something real quick I wanted to highlight with these plans, and thank you, Mr. Castillo and Mrs. Coronado, is some highlights of it is it allows the students to keep their current schedule. So they remain with their teacher and their schedules. As you know, secondary master schedules could be very difficult to change mid-year like this. Yeah. And also every teacher will be working with students. So elective teachers, pathway teachers, AP, honors. So every teacher will be working with students. So that's another highlight, I think, of the way they these two collaboratively came up with this plan. So I thank them both.
Mike, here,
yeah, I had another question. Jamie, like at the high school and middle school, the situation down at the elementary school when they're in quarantine, okay, they're off campus, people are following the protocols and catching the students that have situations that we're working at. So at the high school level, if someone goes on quarantine, they actually won't go through that situation because they'll be in constant contact with a teacher, right?
Correct. They'll still be in a virtual setting, so
Yeah.
they'll still get all the instructional minutes that are needed in order to meet their instructional minutes. And I can tell you that most of our teachers in middle school and high school, they started iPads 1-to-1 earlier than elementary. So that tech savvy piece comes out, that a lot of things are on Canvas. So they're able to access those materials.
So they won't lose out.
They won't miss out.
They'll stay with the same teacher, not, yeah.
They'll stay with their same teachers, so we're not having to switch teachers around or
Not the same
anything like that.
situation.
They get to stay with their same
Not the
teachers.
Yeah, not the same situation as elementary. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah, it looks a little different.
Yeah, that's good.
Another highlight of this plan,
Yeah,
yes.
that's good.
But very proud of Mr. Castillo, Mrs. Coronado, and our teacher leaders and all of our teachers. The innovative ideas come out when you talk to the teachers and their teams. They come up with a lot more ideas than we can by ourselves. So I really appreciate everybody in the collaborative effort that it took to come up with our schedules. I'd like to bring up Mr. Kesterkey, who's going to talk about our other sites.
Yeah, just thank you, Coronado Castillo, for your leadership, guys. Thank you.